This is Grunt to Groan, sales lessons learned from professional wrestling. Coming to you from the Delaware Wrestling Thunderdome, I am your host, Benjamin Burrows.
I am one voice that stands alone. I am one choice to man the throne. Stand guard and take shots, give it all I got. All I got is this microphone.
And it is a great and glorious day to be out selling your products and selling your services. For you are the great American thunder on which this nation rolls, because nothing happens until something is sold. Nothing happens until you sell it. This is Grunt to Groan, sales lessons learned from professional wrestling. I'm your host, Benjamin Burrows, and we are coming to you from the fabulous Delaware Wrestling Thunderdome. And this is volume 23 of the Grunt to Groan podcast. This is episode 23. Can you believe it? We are in our 23rd week of the Grunt to Groan Sales Lessons Learned from Professional Wrestling podcast, and it is an honor to bring this podcast to you week after week after week. And I want to thank you. I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart, and I mean this with great respect. I want to thank you for taking time out of your busy sales day to listen to the Grunt to Groan podcast. I love each and every one of you. I love the profession of sales. I love sales professionals. You are my peers. You are my brothers. You are my sisters in this great battle. And I believe with all of my heart that you are the great American thunder on which this nation rolls, because nothing happens until something is sold, until you sell it. So again, from the bottom of my heart, thank you. And I want to thank you for reaching out to me week after week, getting quite a few emails now, and I appreciate that. I answer each and every one of them. So if you want to send me an email, if you have a question, a comment, a suggestion, please do. I answer each and every one of them. You can email me at greatamericanthunder@gmail.com. I want to thank you for purchasing the book, and I encourage you, if you would, to help support the book, help push the book. If you have a social media page, please copy and paste the link from Amazon.com for the book. Put it out there to your friends, recommend it, suggest it. If you like the book, suggest it to your friends and to your peers. If you didn't like the book, suggest it to your enemies. Dave the Ray, our producer, he really doesn't like it when I say that. He keeps telling me, positive, you got to be positive, positive. I am positive. If you didn't like it, positively, suggest it to your enemies. And also, we've got some big news this week. This is exciting. This whole thing is like really surreal for me. We have just released this week the Grunt to Groan brand of outerwear. Now, that's kind of like a formal way of saying you can get your official Grunt to Groan branded long sleeve t-shirt and or hoodie, because it is getting a little colder. You can get them at Amazon.com. That's right. We've released the official brand of Grunt to Groan on Merch by Amazon, and you can get a long sleeve t-shirt. You can get a hoodie. We started with the cover of the book because I had so many folks email me and say, who designed the cover? How can I get a picture of the cover? Are you thinking about doing it on t-shirts or hoodies or things like that? So we started with the cover of the book of Grunt to Groan, Sales Lessons Learned from Professional Wrestling. And the backstory on that cover is that I was at a local wrestling event. It was at the Delaware Agricultural Museum in Dover, Delaware. I took a picture of the ring from like a corner angle. And it was very impressive because I was able to capture the American flag and a microphone on a chrome stand right in the middle of the ring. And I took that picture to a friend of mine, Dio. He's Dio with Bride Dressed in Black. And he took that picture and he repainted that picture digitally and designed it to the exact specifications of what I needed and what I wanted. And that's how the picture came about. It's very beautiful. I love the work that Dio did. If you need a graphic artist, please email me at greatamericanthunder@gmail.com, and Dio will be happy to work with you. I can put you in touch with him. So now we have the official Grunt to Groan brand of merchandise. You can get a long sleeve tee. You can get a hoodie. And meeting with the Grunt to Groan staff this week, I understand that we have coming up some Christmas t-shirt and a Christmas hoodie that you're going to be able to purchase, and some other Grunt to Groan merchandise. So again, thank you for all your support, and pick up the book, pick up some merchandise, support the Grunt to Groan Nation, because again, from the bottom of my heart, I love each and every one of you. Now we're going to jump into the podcast this week, and last week we said that this was going to be the week we were going to do a show on prospecting. And the Grunt to Groan staff lay out our shows about 3 to 4 weeks in advance. And I was soliciting how you prospect, and I want to thank again Johnny Montana and the West Virginia Bumblebee for their ideas, and everyone else who has sent me in, emailed me ideas of how you prospect. But I want to switch gears this week. And I'm at odds with the Grunt to Groan staff over this, but it is my podcast, so I think I can overrule them every once in a while without them walking out on me, going on strike. Although they didn't bring coffee, so maybe they're boycotting because they didn't bring me any coffee, but I want to override them. No, I appreciate the Grunt to Groan staff. I appreciate Dave the Ray. They do a lot of work to prepare for the podcast. They make it easy for me to be able to sit down here in the middle of this sweat-stained, blood-stained wrestling ring at the Delaware Wrestling Thunderdome and bring you this podcast week after week. But I want to switch gears this week because recently I was at a trade show. And I'm going to address a pet peeve of mine. This makes me grit my teeth, what I'm about to address. So I was at a trade show, and I'm walking the floor of the trade show, and this was a large trade show. I'm going to venture to say there were 600 vendors at this trade show. And out of the 600 vendors, I guarantee that 1/3 of those vendors, the vendors working their booth, acted like they didn't even want to be there. They were on their phones, they were checking their emails, they were texting, they were playing Angry Birds. I don't know what they were doing. But they obviously didn't want to be at this trade show. And as someone walking the trade show floor, looking for new ideas, looking for products to represent, I was looking for enthusiasm. I was looking for vendors who are excited about the products they represent. So on this podcast, I said to the Grunt to Groan staff, I'd like to move prospecting to next week, and I want to address this issue. If you're a vendor and you are paying the money to participate in a trade show, by God, please act like you want to be there. If your company paid good money to present your product at a trade show, and you're working that trade show, act like you want to be there. It was very frustrating. There were products that I saw that I really wanted to embrace and wrap my head and my sales game around, And the person working the booth was about as interested as talking with me as they were to walk on the planet Mars. As a sales professional, it is our job to represent our products, to represent our company with passion and with enthusiasm all the time, even on the down days, even on the hard days, and even when we don't want to be there. I'm like you. I have to get up each and every day and go and meet with clients. I have to prospect new business. I have to close business. I have to capture share of wallet. Today, my last appointment is at 5:15. I won't get back home until 7 o'clock. But I love sales. I love when my feet hit that floor. I love being in front of my clients. I love partnering with them. I love hearing their issues. I love bringing solutions. I love closing business. I also love working trade shows. Now, how does this compare at all to professional wrestling? Well, recently, like I said, I was at a trade show where I was very disappointed because at least 1/3 of the vendors there acted like they didn't want to be there. And then my grandson and I go to an independent professional wrestling show. It was put on by 1CW. I spoke about it a couple weeks ago, and it was at the Cross Christian Community Center. And here you have young professional wrestlers who are trying to make their mark in their industry. They travel every day and twice on the weekends. I mean, these guys log some miles underneath of them. I follow a lot of them on their social media pages. They're in Ohio on Friday night. They're in Delaware on Saturday night, and they're in West Virginia on Sunday night. They're trying to make their mark in a very, very competitive industry. But yet they set up their tables with their merchandise, and no matter the miles they have on them, the lack of sleep that they've suffered through, or the beating they've taken in the ring, you can tell there's a genuine passion, there's a genuine desire, and there's a genuine excitement for them to meet and greet their fans. At a professional wrestling event, at an independent professional wrestling event, they set up all their vendor tables, the wrestlers do, and they sell their merchandise, and they are excited. Now, my grandson's 9. He's got a limited amount of cash. He's the skull crusher, and again, they go out of their way to meet and greet him. And I watch him do it not just with him, but with his buddies and with all the other kids. And not just with kids, but with teenagers. And not just with teenagers, but with adults. They're excited about being there. They're thankful that you purchase a T-shirt. They're grateful that you took time out of your day, that you took time out of your weekend just to stop by and say hello, to watch them wrestle. And to maybe buy a T-shirt. And as sales professionals, when we work a trade show, that's the enthusiasm and that's the excitement we need to bring. When I took my grandson to school for the very first day, he did not want to go. He told his mom and his dad Mr. and Mrs. Mad Dog Fred, I don't want to go. Call Pop. Call Pop. Pop will take me. Because, when Pop picked him up, he figured he'd talk me out of taking him to school. Man, was it hard. I almost took a vacation day that day. But we pulled up in front of the school, and I said to the Skull Crusher, on the other side of those very doors, you are going to meet your very best friend. Your friend you will have for life. And you will be in the first grade together and the second grade together all the way to high school, maybe to college. And in he went. And when I picked him up after school, he came out and he said, Pop, you were right. You were exactly right. I met my best friend. And he and that child are best friends to this day. They're both in the fourth grade. As a sales professional, that is how we have to look at working trade shows. Our very next best and biggest and most loyal and faithful client is on that floor ready to meet us. And to look at it in any other way is literally wasting your company's money. So I looked up on inc.com, inc.com. There's an article written by Stephen Key. It's called 13 Tips for Getting the Most Out of Trade Shows. Now, the article is geared toward the person who's going to be walking the trade floor, looking for new products, new innovation, and new ideas. But I thought this is a great article to gain insight as a sales professional. And I'm not going to go through all 13 points. I'm just going to hit some highlights that I think are important. I think point number 3 is very important. Stay at the hotel associated with the event. As a vendor, you should stay at the hotel associated with the event because it gives you more opportunities to network. To network with new and valuable clients, potential clients. Number 4 says make a plan. The worst way to go to a trade show is unprepared. You need a goal. You need objectives. When I go to a trade show, I have objectives and I have goals. There are certain people I want to meet. If I can get the attendee list before the show, which some shows will allow you to have, I mark who I want to see. I mark who I want to talk to. I spend time when I work a trade show inviting clients and prospective new clients to the trade show. And part of my plan is to meet them, to greet with them, and to show them the innovation of the companies I'm representing. Number 5, dress the part. People will take you more seriously if you dress appropriately. You need to dress the part. Of course, number 7, bring business cards and copies of your sales sheets. You should take copies on spec sheets and sales sheets of everything that you have. And I know in today's digital media, I like to get an email address and suggest that I email the PDFs, which 1, gives me their contact information, and 2, gives me the reason for my follow-up. Number 10 says wait for salespeople to engage with you. But as a sales professional, and you were to flip this a little bit, it should be we should engage with everybody who comes into our booth. I like to encourage people to come in to our booth. I don't like to stand in the booth. I like to stand outside of the booth, and I like to greet people as they come down the aisle. If they're wearing a name tag and it happens to say where they're from, let's just say the Vancouver, VA, that's a door opener. Oh, you're Mike from the Vancouver, VA. I'm Ben. Glad to meet you. You have to be aggressive, and you have to engage. Of course, number 12, follow up after the show's over. And number 13, take it seriously. If you have to go to bed early to rise early, do it. That's from Inc.com, Stephen Key, 13 tips for getting the most out of trade shows. Your company spends a lot of time and a lot of money going to trade shows. So as a sales professional, it is our job to make the most out of it. To spend time texting, to spend time playing solitaire, to spend time playing Angry Birds or being on the phone, just neglecting the people, the potential customers walking by your booth is an injustice. It's a pet peeve. So with that, I'm going to close this podcast of Grunt to Groan. My suggestion is take every opportunity you can to meet new prospective clients. And if at a trade show, you should walk out of that trade show with a stack of business cards, a stack of contact information, so that you've got enough work for the next 3 weeks just in follow-up. Take it seriously. Again, I want to thank you for taking time to listen to Grunt to Groan, sales lessons learned from professional wrestling. You can reach out to me at greatamericanthunder@gmail.com. I appreciate your emails and your feedback. You can connect with me on LinkedIn at Benjamin Burrows. You can follow me on Twitter at Great American Thunder, at Real Ben Burrows. Don't forget, pick up a copy of the book, Grunt to Groan, Sales Lessons Learned from Professional Wrestling. You can now purchase official Grunt to Groan branded t-shirts and hoodies at Amazon.com. And I thank you for that. Have a great week. And remember, you are the great American thunder on which this nation rolls. Because nothing happens until something is sold. So quit listening to me. Get out there. Sell something.
I am one voice that stands alone. I am one choice to man the throne. Stand guard and take shots. Give it all I got. All I got is this microphone. I am my thoughts, my skill displayed. I fought my